Good evening. Just kidding. Welcome to Harmon Speaks. Today we're going to do a little different kind of video from what we normally do. Today, since it's a couple weeks until Halloween, my favorite holiday of the year, we're going to take a break from what we normally discuss and have some fun discussing some paranormal stuff. So if you don't like that kind of stuff, we'll be back on topic next week. But we just want to have a little fun today. I'm not asking you to believe everything, but I am going to tell you that the stories I tell are based on actual experiences. So welcome, and I hope you enjoy the video. Let's have some fun.
You said you had an experience this morning?
Yeah, I did.
So explain that.
Well, my oldest child worked late last night, and my wife, who's a saint, got up and went to get him around 2 this morning. And you know, she had to wake up to go get him and woke me up, and she picked him up, came back, and so this morning we decided we're going to sleep in and get a little rest. And as we're retired and sleeping a lot is important. And so we were both sleeping in, and I heard the sound of feet shuffling into my room, and it sounded just like my mother used to. When she would wear house slippers, and if she was on carpet, it made that whoosh 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 sound when she walked. And I looked to see if she were there, and I didn't see her, but I heard something go, And my mom always made sounds like that. If you tell her something good, she wouldn't, oh, that's great. She was not like that. She'd go, uh-huh. Yeah. And her grandkids made fun of her, and she knew that. They would do it to her. They say, hey, Grandma, I got a good grade in school today. They would both at the same time go, uh-huh. And Mom was quit making fun of me. So she knew it. We were teasing her to do that, but I would swear that was her.
Wow.
Now, I didn't see her, but I did feel her there. Let me tell you the very first story I was ever aware of. When I was about 8 years old, my little brother was 4, and we shared a bedroom because that's just something that boys have to do to teach us not to kill everybody in our lives. And he slept on one side of the room, I slept on the other, and one night he woke up, and he claims he saw somebody looking in our window. So he ran across the room and woke me up and said, "Can you move over, move over, move over?" And I'm like, "What are you doing, man?" He goes, "Move over, move over." And I moved over, he jumped in the bed, pulled the cover over his head, and just was trembling. And I said, "What is this?" And he goes, "I see something in the window." And I said, "What do you see?" And he said, I don't know, but I don't want to see it. I said, "Well, you got to tell me, what did you see?" And so I started trying to look, and he's pulling the cover over my head. No, don't look, please don't look. And he pulls the cover back down. And I said, "Well, you at least didn't have to tell me what it is." And he said he saw this older lady with a shawl wrapped around her shoulders like this. And she was looking at him through the window. And I said, "I want to see that." And I tried to, he was begging me, "Please, don't look, don't look." And I had the cover over my head. And we lay there forever, and as little boys would do, we finally fell asleep. And that next morning I woke up, I looked, there's, of course, by that point, nobody in the window. So I went into the kitchen and told my mother what had happened. And my mother got a funny look on her face and came in and got my little brother and walked him next door to my grandparents' room, our house. And she told my grandparents what had happened. And that's when they told me their story, because she had me with her. And my grandfather sat me down, and he said that when he was a little boy, now they took our brother in the back. My grandfather and I sat in the front of the room, and the grandfather told me that when he was a little boy, around my brother's age, his grandmother was on her deathbed. And she called him into her room before she died, and she told him that he was always one of her favorites. And if there was any way that God would let her do it, she wanted to come back and see his children and grandchildren. Now, Granddaddy was about 4 or 5. He wasn't thinking about family or children. I was like, yeah, Granny, okay. And so they let him go, and he went outside to play. And he said the last he saw of her, she was lying in bed with a shawl pulled around her shoulder like this. And she died that way. So they buried her. And I said, okay. And he said he didn't think anything about that after that. Until he got grown, he married my grandmother, they had my mom. And one day, my mom and my grandmother were out at my grandfather's parents' house. And the whole family came together. It was October. They had gathered all the crops and did all the things they had to do to put the farm to bed for the winter. And they decided to go, men were going to go out on a big hunt that day, and the women were going to make a big meal, and they were going to have a fall party. And so the women went into town to get some supplies. My grandmother and my mother, who was about 4 or 5 years old at the time, stayed at the house to try to get some things ready. So my grandmother was sitting out on the front porch with some potatoes in a basket in her lap, and she's peeling them. And my mom is in the house running around, jumping up and down on everything and breaking things as mom would do. And then she would run out on the front porch, and she stopped and she said, "Mama, what's this? Or who's this?" And she pointed over at the edge of the porch, and there was a woman sitting there in a rocking chair, rocking back and forth. My grandmother didn't see anything. And she said, "Lucy, what are you talking about?" And she said, "There's a woman sitting right here in the rocking chair, rocking." And my grandmother looked and said, "Baby, you gotta go on and play now. I need to peel the potatoes." So she kept peeling, and my mom ran back in the house, ran around a while, jumped up and down, broke a couple things, and came back out of the house. And she said, "Mama, she's still here. Who is this woman? She makes me nervous." And my grandmother looked over and she said, "Baby, I don't see anybody. So quit messing with me, go on and play." Mom went inside again and she came out the third time. And she said, "Mom, I see her as clear as I see you. And I'm going to put my hand on her knee and show her to you." And she walked over and put her hand down in the midair. Now, if you think about a little girl imitating her hand on someone's knee while they're rocking a rocking chair, you imagine it going like this, right? Kind of in a slow, steady arch. But if you're really rocking in a rocking chair, you keep your feet on the ground usually and just rock the chair back. So the knee actually kind of slowly glides back like this. Not up, but back and up a little bit. And that's what my 4-year-old mother's hand started doing. And my grandmother looked, she goes, "You really see her?" And she said, "Yeah, it's a lady sitting in a chair with a shawl pulled around her shoulders like this." My grandmother got nervous, threw the potatoes out, ran over and grabbed my mother, and ran a half a mile to their house, locked my mother in the house, and sat on the porch with a double-barrel shotgun waiting for my grandfather. And she knew how to use this shotgun, so you don't mess with my grandma. But a few hours later, the man came in from the field, and he saw potatoes thrown all over the front yard. And he said she probably saw a snake or something. And so he walked half a mile or so to his house. And sure enough, my grandmother was still sitting out on the porch. And he went in and he said, or to the porch, and he said, "What's the matter, Sally?" And my grandmother told him what had happened and about the woman on the chair. And my grandfather didn't respond to her. He unlocked the house. He went in. My mother was taking a nap. He woke her up, and he took her into the back bedroom, and he pulled out a box of pictures. And he didn't say anything to my mom. He just started sending pictures out on the bed one by one. And after a few minutes, my mother tapped him on the hand. He said, "Daddy, that's the woman I saw this morning on the porch." And he pointed to a picture of my grandfather's grandmother. And he said, okay. And he put them back. Now, after he told me the story, he took me to the back of his house, and my mother had that same box of pictures out. And she was putting them out on the bed, one at a time. And my brother stopped her and he said, Mama, that's the woman I saw in the window last night. And it was a picture of my grandmother, great-grandmother, with her shawl pulled around her shoulders like this. So she came to see him. As far as I know, she hasn't come to see our children, but she didn't come to see me. She came to see my brother, and my brother doesn't have children, so I don't know if she'll be seen again. I hope you have a happy Halloween. I hope you've enjoyed the stories. Enjoy the holiday. Don't eat too much chocolate, you'll be chubby like me. But there are worse things. But I hope you have a happy holiday. Next week we will be back with a video on our usual topic. But I just wanted to have a little fun with this. I hope you enjoyed it. And please come back, like and share the video, and have a happy Halloween. Good night.